Hey guys, Kevin Ploe from Yahoo Entertainment. Good to be here. Welcome to Build Series. You don't need to come from the future to know our next guest is an exciting one. He is an Emmy-winning actor who shot to stardom on the beloved sitcom Will and Grace, which of course has recently returned to the airwaves. Now he's also entering the third season of Netflix's exciting and deep-thinking time travel series, Travelers.
I've felt like this before, Grant.
Like what?
That I've lost something. Time. I woke up once months ago feeling this way. My head was pounding like it is now, and I couldn't remember anything that happened the day before. Remember the day your SUV was stolen? You said I had too much to drink?
Well, you went at it pretty hard, Kat. What do you want me to say?
That you drugged me to make me forget something. What are you trying to make me forget?
Jesus, Kat, why would I... Shit. So I just have to try again.
No! Don't even touch it!
All right, please welcome Eric McCormack.
Hey, everybody. Hi.
Thank you for being here. How you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. It's been a busy morning.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, congrats on this show. It is great. I've just discovered it. I've just recently gotten into this. This is a show that has steadily built a fan base over the first two seasons. Season 3 is going to premiere on Netflix on December 14th.
Right.
Netflix has called this one of their most devoured shows. That's a good thing.
It's very bingey. It's
That means
bingey.
people are binging the hell out of this show. In terms of just the action, I love it. It's taut, it's thrilling, and the premise in terms of sci-fi series is just primo. If you guys are not, we're going to do a quick refresher on this. If you've not seen this show, it's about a group of operatives from a post-apocalyptic future.
Right.
Who are sent back through their consciousness into the bodies of people near death, and they are attempting to change fate.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. They are hoping to avert what's going to be the apocalypse. And please tell me that this technology is already in the works, so we can.
I'm pretty sure Robert Mueller is a traveler. That's my hope.
There are travelers amongst us.
Yes. Well, that's the fun part of the show is that we haven't come back in a time machine and we're wandering around. We are just consciousness in the bodies. You could be a traveler. It's like a spy show. We are deep undercover. And in that clip, which is from the new episode, the season premiere, that's the woman who is my character's wife. But the day I land in his body, seconds before he was historically supposed to have died, something no one would have known except those of us in the future, I just take over his life. So sometimes we're doing sci-fi mission things, and sometimes I'm just living his life and trying to figure out, I mean, if you're suddenly married to someone, you got to try to take the clues about how you eat together, how you have sex together. What's the very first episode I guess it's the second one where we meet her, and I meet her for the first time. I call her by her full name, and she looks at me like, you haven't called
weird.
me Catherine in 10 years. So, but the show never stops being that. All 5 of us travelers are constantly having to be on edge because everything is new to us. In our distant future, everything is a mess. It is unlivable. It's unsustainable. And we have traced historically all the problems back to this decade.
Shocking.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Apparently, this is where it all started to go wrong.
Yes.
Which 2 years ago felt like a fun premise. Now it feels like absolute pressure.
Just another reminder to vote.
Yeah, it is. This whole show is just a reminder to vote.
This is where we're going.
Yeah.
So season 3, Netflix, December 14th. For those who are just discovering the show or just tuning in, is this a series that you can enter cold in season 3, or would you say go back and watch those two?
I wouldn't suggest it, but also you don't need to. It's the beauty of Netflix, right? I mean, we don't premiere season 3 for 2 weeks, but the first 2 seasons are available now, and it's a really bingey show. And as you can see, I'm the old guy. Like, it's a young, hot cast. They're all Canadian. This is an entirely Canadian production, which is why it was kind of, I think, slow for the world to find out, because we initially would premiere in Canada, and then 6 months later would be on Netflix. But this year, that's Elements Gone. We still produce the entire show there, but it's a global, it's a Netflix original, and they're really behind us. But I'm just so excited. I literally could go, I could spend 10 minutes just going through each of them and how freaking talented they are. This is Mackenzie Porter. In 3 days, no, I think it's on Friday, she's about to release 2 country songs that I think are going to be global. Like, she's such a talented singer and songwriter. Nesta's on a whole other show when she's not doing our show. Jared Abrahamson was in a couple of great movies. One was called American Animals that just came out this year. They're all going to explode, and I'll be there to act like granddad, going, "I knew it, I knew it."
So all Canadian cast. So I think we're seeing what the subtext to this series truly is. It's the Canadians are going to save us.
That's what we're saying
that's where we're going.
Canadians have always, particularly in this industry, been like the body snatchers. We just sort of snuck down to LA and slowly but surely started taking everybody's jobs. It's just that we don't have Australian accents, so you can't tell that we just came and took. But we're secretly trying to fix everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the series from the get-go was thought-provoking and smart and twisty. Really catches its groove in season 2. How do you think? Tease season 3 for us without giving away too much. Where's it going to depart? Where's it going to go?
Well, the key to any espionage-style show, to anything deep undercover, is no one can find out. And at the end of season 2, it looks like our loved ones, the ones that are actually living in 2000, in the 21st century, and have no idea that we've taken over their loved ones' bodies. They're all about to. They just found out that the last moment of season 2 involves a slap in my face from my wife, who now recognizes that I'm not the man she married. And so season 3 is about us containing that. Which, again, even when we conceived of it not that long ago, it's like, how do you keep something like that in? How do you stop the world from finding out that there are time travelers among us? Yeah. Well, it's easy. You know, somebody just has to say it's fake news, and then suddenly no one believes it anymore. And it's true. We didn't think of how fast that approach to the world is taking over. And so when we got to the second episode of season 3, I suddenly realized it doesn't have to take over the entire season, because it's actually very easy to create some other reality and have people believe that. So
where are we going to see? What are we going to see Mac up to in season 3? He's his arc for us.
Yes. So the fun of all these characters is that we're constantly living this double life and this lie, and we're supposed to just follow orders, and none of us really have, because the one thing we didn't count on is how subjectively involved we get in the lives of the people that we live with every day. So when Mac arrived in the pilot, or at least when I arrived into Mac's body, who looks surprisingly like me, I was in love with the traveler who landed into this body, and we had to hide that. That's not a protocol. It's also not protocol that I actually create a child with the woman whose husband I'm suddenly supposed to be. But all of that gets mixed up, and it does for everyone. And so in season 3, I've got to try to appease her, to keep her happy, and at the same time, her suspicions, no matter what we try to do with her memory, and no matter how much we try to dazzle, she knows something's up, and so does this character, Nesta's husband. So it's and then the whole Jared's character is fascinating. He arrives in this body, but in fact, in the future, he's 150 years old. So Jared does this great job of playing an old man in a young, hip body, and but the old man side of him starts to deteriorate. That's a big plot point. And we also, season 3 is also very much about the technology that we as travelers have put so much belief into. We're all true faith believers in what we're doing, and we start to find out that perhaps the whole system is corrupted.
Well, as you mentioned earlier, I mean, these are all double roles. You know, how do you're not only 3, 4, 6, 8, I believe.
Right.
You're also Mac. You're ultimately 2 characters. How do you approach that? Are you keeping sort of that duality in mind when playing this guy?
Yeah, I think the fun for most of them in the pilot, they entered those bodies in the first scene. I got to play the entire pilot as my original guy, as Grant MacLaren before 3468. took over. So I tried to create some things 3 years ago in him that if we could try to remember how he was a bit sardonic, he was a bit world weary and sarcastic, and Mac is a lot more altruistic and a bit of a Boy Scout. He's a good leader, but so yeah, I try to keep in mind what the other people in Mac's life think of him versus who, because none of them are supposed to be actors; they're just soldiers. But they arrive and they suddenly have to be actors.
I've heard this series called a darker quantum leap. Do you embrace this comparison?
I think that's pretty good. I think it is, and I'm like an older Scott Bakula. I think it's
You're channeling
also,
Bakula.
Yeah, I compared. I was joking about how much older I am than they are today, and I made a George Peppard joke, and no one in the studio audience laughed because none of them have heard of George Peppard. And I thought, I just proved it. I just proved my point. I made a reference no one's heard of. But yeah, I would compare it to a little of that, except Quantum Leap was constantly back and forth.
Right.
This is like a one-way ticket. We are stuck in this mission. We're not going back to the future because we don't want to.
Right.
We're also changing the future in ways that we're not even
You're not
sure.
even aware of.
And we won't know. It's not our job to know. It's
And in ways that aren't always positive also.
Yeah, what happens a lot in season 3 is we start to get word from the future in various ways. It's a really cool thing in this series I thought was Brad Wright created it, who created all of the Stargate series. And one of the cool elements he put right at the beginning is that in order for the director, who is the sort of the brains behind what we're doing, in order to give us missions and communicate with us, it has to be done through a person, and the person has to be a child, because whatever it would take to go into the mind of someone, they become messengers for 6 seconds. If it happened to a person, they would give the message and they would probably die because it was just too much for an adult brain to take. But a child could suddenly become a messenger, deliver the message, and then go, where am I? What just happened? And it's fine. So throughout the first season in particular, there's these scary, wonderful moments of these Vancouver kids suddenly going, Agent 3468. It's so cool. The auditions were amazing to watch, kid after kid after kid. It's like
There's nothing better than a creepy kid.
Yeah, so like Children of the Corn every week.
Yeah.
So it's it's a little that, but it's also, I would compare it almost to The Americans in that that's what we were watching week after week, was this couple that we love, even though they're Russian spies, but we're watching them be a series of people, but at very least they are posing as loving parents, but they're actually loving parents. It's very confusing, but I always thought the premise of that show was so strong.
Another way I must mention that season 3 departs, you direct an episode, the very first episode.
I do.
Tell us about
that scenes from that episode. Yeah, I directed Brad is a very generous executive producer and showrunner, and insisted that I eventually direct. So I directed the end of the second season and the beginning of the third. Which is fun. It's something I always wanted to do. My heroes are in all of their own movies. Woody Allen and Albert Brooks and Warren Beatty. I always thought that's amazing that you directed this and you're in every frame. Is fascinating to me. So I'm not in every frame, but I have we have a crew that we trust and that I know has my back. And my first AD I've known for 25 years. My first AD in both episodes was a maid of honor at my wedding 20 years ago. Wow. He and my wife were best friends. So it's to have that and know that he's looking out for me is good.
Plus, suddenly you get to boss around all of your castmates.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah, because I mean, just clearly you hate them, just the way you were speaking about them.
100%. This is a disguise for
no love,
total megalomania. It just gets unleashed.
Yeah, no, but in all seriousness, I mean, how important is it to have like a tight chemistry like you guys clearly do on a series that's now entering its third season, seems sort of limitless in terms of like its bandwidth and in terms of where this show can go. There's many years before you get to what's actually present day.
Yeah, knock wood.
This could go 100 million seasons.
I hope it goes.
Yeah.
It's what's exciting is that they are younger and hungry and malleable, and they want direction. And a lot of the times, TV directors don't have time for that. They got a day to make, and they got cameras to place, and they sometimes forget just to give an actor not go here, go there, but just to give them some little kernel, a whisper in the ear that just changes the scene a little bit. And as an actor, first I was able to just find those moments, and I think they all enjoyed that. At least that's what they say publicly.
How many seasons can you see this series go? Have you guys talked about that? Is that in the back of your minds?
Well, it's always the back of anyone's mind when they're doing a series, and I love doing television. This was never like, oh, I guess I can't do movies, so I guess I'll do TV. I love playing a character for a long period of time. I love not knowing what's coming next. I mean, in some ways, series require the least amount of acting, because when a character acts in one episode like he doesn't know what's coming next, we really don't. Whereas in a movie, you read it a year ago and you're finally shooting that scene. There's a kind of it's like a living, breathing thing, a series that's well run, and so I would love to do this for a while. And I think it's because it is time travel, and because there are rules, but the rules are there to be broken sometimes. As I think will probably happen. I'm not teasing anything about the end of season 3, but I will say that it goes in a very unexpected direction, and it will require that if there was a season 4, there's tremendous reinvention.
Well, like all good sci-fi, this series not only raises a lot of questions, but in turn leads to a lot of fan theories.
Yeah.
Are you going on YouTube? Are you ever online looking at what people are speculating? What, might be happening?
I mean, science fiction in general, but this show particularly it's complicated, and I couldn't answer most of the fan questions. I would have to say, talk to Brad, because I have no idea. It's
your knowledge of the mythology,
Right.
the grander mythology, only goes so far.
only goes so far, and also, I mean, sci-fi fans are hungry and they're smart, and they will think of things that we hadn't even thought of, and sometimes they will think of exactly what we thought of, and so we can't answer the questions. It's like that. Maybe that's what happens. I can't. Damn it! I figured it out. But I have done bits and pieces of sci-fi over the years, but never a series like this. And it is amazing to meet the rabid sci-fi fans that never stop thinking about it. Never stop thinking about their theories, and particularly when they call you on it. Once in a while, I'll get a script and I'll say to Brad, if we do this, that's the first question at Comic-Con is going to be, how come if you can do this with the quantum frame, you can't do, and he'll say, I know what I'll say. I'll say, good question. Next question. So even he doesn't have all the answers.
Yeah, you can always plead the fifth, right?
Yeah.
Well, this is not your only television show on the air these days. Are there any Will and Grace fans here? I thought.
Thank you.
What has it been like to get the band back together?
It was surprisingly seamless. We were 11 years apart, and not just as characters, but almost as people. We were just not people that hang with each other that much. So we lived in different cities and very different lives. So it was surprising. It wasn't surprising to me, but I think a lot of people were surprised how seamlessly it came together. And a lot of that has to do with the nature of a sitcom is the set. It's that stage. It's that one major set that you spend all your time on that becomes like your sandbox. And Will's apartment is that for me. I can't walk on that set and not be Will. I just relax, and that's my house. I think I know it better than some of the rooms in my own house. And
it's the same set? Was that set kept?
It's virtually the same set.
It was virtually.
Yeah.
So it was.
I mean, it's been updated a little bit in bits and pieces, but it's the set that was the story. I don't know if you've heard this story, but at the end of the first series, Max Muchnick, who created the show, took the entire set and gave it to his alma mater, which was Emerson College in Boston, and they put it up in the library and then put glass around it. So for 10 years, Emerson College students would sit there and eat their lunch in the library and stare at the Will and Grace set, complete, like everything.
That's amazing.
Like the Smithsonian. And 10 years, I guess 2 years ago, they called up Max and said, we're renovating. Can you take your set back, please? And that's what gave Max the idea of
he's like, I got to do something with the set now.
He secretly
Let's
flew
revive
the
the show.
set. He secretly flew the set with his own money across the country, had it set up in the basement of a studio at Radford where we used to shoot. And we recorded that 10-minute hashtag vote honey thing that not even my agents, nobody's agents or lawyers, NBC, nobody knew about it. We shot it in about an hour and a half, and then dropped it on the internet. And when NBC saw it, rather than suing, they said, "Let's do this again." So it was Max. It was him all along that made it happen, and for really wonderful reasons.
So we're seeing a theme here. All of your career decisions, you're just trying to get people to vote, basically. Basically, that's what it comes down to.
You see how nice it could be.
So Will and Grace, this is a show over the years, 83 Emmy nominations, 18 wins, just incredible what the show has achieved. 29 Golden Globe nominations.
No
not
wins.
a single win.
No wins.
How is that possible? Wait, did you guys? Did you guys revive this show just so you could finally win some Golden Globes?
And and not only that, not even me. Sean and Megan got nominated for a Globe every year, never won. Yeah. This year, we thought we were going to get a bunch of. It was only the show and me. We knew the show wasn't going to win because there was too many. But for about a week before, it looked like it might actually be me, and then it was Aziz Ansari. He was like, and we looked at each other and said, "We are undefeated in being defeated. We are absolutely the most defeated of all shows." It is. It's a record. No one's ever been losing that much.
I saw some headlines recently that you said you didn't think that if Will and Grace were cast today that you would be cast as Will. Do you think there is more scrutiny on that character today as in your portrayal being a straight man playing a gay character?
I'd like to think that I earned my stripes and that that's not a question anymore.
Yeah.
But if the show were being rebooted and they said they wanted to tell Will and Grace the 22-year-old story, then I think they would be. I would like to think that they'd open the audition room to whoever walked through the door, all colors, all stripes, all sexualities, and yet they would probably, if they were smart, cast an actual gay man. So I'm torn because I'm from the theater where, I can still play a 25-year-old Spanish man. Now they actually have 25-year-olds that are Spanish, so they don't need me to do that. But I still have that mentality that, like, let's put on some makeup. I'll be something. But we now have a duty now to be true to people. And so where that line is, I don't know. Because
it's evolving.
Yeah, I'm not a doctor, but I can play one on TV and nobody gets too upset. But anyway, I'd like to think I'm still welcome in gay living rooms.
Clearly you are. I mean, the show is going to go for another a third season.
We have a third season, and after that, who knows? But I mean. This thing that's happening now where I get to do Travelers at the beginning of the year and Will and Grace at the end is just a luxury and a privilege. So I'll take it as long as I can get it.
Awesome. We're going to open it up for some audience Q&A. Who's first? Hi.
Hey. First
Hello.
of all, congratulations. I know you two mentioned before about Travelers being a binge-worthy show, and it's just a worthy show in general. But I wanted to know, like, how should they prepare themselves to binge watch this? Is there going to be like a cliffhanger at the end? Should they like take a few breathers in between episodes?
Well, that's a good question. They should certainly stock up on snack foods.
Caffeine.
On caffeine.
Choice.
I get so torn because I'm from the old television where you watch the show a week, and now I as a viewer I binge. Now I want to watch everything all at once. So I know it's. But I think with this show, you should, to answer your question. Prepare yourself for a ride this year. We always cliffhang a bit, but this one's a little out of left field. We had to take it big, and we do. So, thank you.
All right, we've got two more questions. Who's up?
So I was wondering what the most fun scene to film in Travelers was.
The most fun scene. Let me think. I love when we're all together. There was a scene and have you seen the whole both series? Well, there's a scene at the end of season 1 that is, I think it was 10 pages, and it all takes place in a barn. And it was the first episode that we had Amanda Tapping direct, who had been one of the leads on Stargate, and she's a great director now, a very working director. And so we just spent the whole day, but it was one of those sort of classic sort of Tarantino scenes where everyone's just got a gun on everyone else, and that keeps allegiances keep shifting. And I remember that day being a lot of fun for sure. Thanks.
All right, last question.
Hi, thank you so much for being here. I was just wondering if your preparation for your roles are different in comparison to like comedy versus something more serious like Travelers.
Yeah, it's almost not even the comedy drama thing as much as it is an hour-long single camera versus, Will and Grace, we do like a play. We would perform the whole thing in front of an audience, shoot the whole show in about 3.5, 4 hours. So the preparation for that is obviously not a deep emotional preparation, but it's memorizing like a play. You got to go out there as if you're going to do the whole thing without mistakes. Well, you make mistakes on purpose sometimes because it's fun, because the audience can't wait for it. But whereas with Travelers, you get a chance to build a whole episode and understand how each scene fits into a bigger picture, and there may be days between this scene and that scene, like a movie, you shoot out of order. So the preparation for that is a bit more meticulous and a bit deeper, a bit more rich. Thanks.
Great. Thank you guys for the questions. Eric, thank you so much for being here with us today.
My pleasure.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Travelers is returning to Netflix December 14th. Check it out.
Thanks for coming in.